I hope you all are well and safe at your home. Today we are going to start a new chapter. Till now we have completed 3 chapters, and today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 4. And chapter number 4 is Mauryan Empire. Now we have discussed about Harappan civilization, we have discussed about Vedic age, we have discussed about Buddhism and Jainism. In this chapter we are going to discuss about Mauryan Empire. Now Mauryan Empire, it's not like that it's the king and all you have heard in earlier classes also. Chandragupta Maurya, very renowned king. Ashoka, very renowned king. Everybody knows about Ashoka. Even if you ask a child, even he knows what Ashoka. Many movies, many serials was there about these kings. And today we are going to discuss the sources. Now what are the sources? If you see in your books, when you go through your books, you'll see, so in every chapter they write literary sources and sources. Now what these sources are? Sources are basically from where we get the information about these people, though they are not alive now, though those who are writing the books, those who are writing about them now, though they were also not alive that time. From where we are getting information about them? Because these kings were alive 100 years back, 100 years ago, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, we are talking about them. Now from where we are getting information about them? From these sources, from the books, from the buildings, from the statues and all. We're getting information about them, and archaeologists found the information from these sources. Now from Mauryan Empire, for Mauryan Empire, what are the main sources? Basically Mauryan Empire came into during 4th century, around 4th century BC, 4th century BCE to 2nd century BCE. This Mauryan Empire came. It was, now who was the one who brought this empire? Or if you remember, the serial used to come that is about Chandragupta Maurya. In that serial they told whole story about Maurya. Now the another important person, Chandragupta was the important person of this empire, Ashoka was the important person. Now beside these kings, one more person is very important in this period, that is Chanakya, that is Kautilya. If you heard the name of this person, he was the guru, or you can say the mentor of this Chandragupta Maurya. So now Mauryan dynasty, from where we get the information about this Mauryan dynasty? Now class, every time I try to make your class more interesting so that you can understand the class in a better way. So that, I know history is not as interesting subject as other subjects are, like science and all, but still I try my best to make a good class for you, so that you can, though we are not live now, but still I hope you can understand. I try my best so that you can understand the chapter in a proper way. I just give you, I have one request for you. While I'm teaching, as I'm teaching you in slides and all through this video, I want, while you go through these videos, just open the book, open your book, and then go through the video. Then you'll understand the video in a better way. Okay, now we'll start with the sources. As I told you, sources are the information, are the thing from where we are getting information about these people. So for Mauryan Empire, as for the first time in Indian history, by the 4th century, a large empire was built. This empire was not a small empire, a very large empire was built. During which reign? By the 4th century. This empire was built in India. This empire was a very large empire. And the two main sources, now as I told you, the main sources we get, basically in your book there are four main sources: Arthashastra, Indica, Vishakha Dattas, and Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa. But I'm talking about only two main sources, that is Arthashastra and Indica. Indica by Megasthenes. You should know the name. Megasthenes are the uh, they were from another part of the country, and they, Alexander, he was, there was one person, that is Seleucus, a person. In earlier time, foreigners used to come and travel our country, and when they used to travel our country, they used to write something about our that time, something about that period, what they have seen, what they have witnessed. And this is one of the information, this book is one of that book which Megasthenes has written. Seleucus was the one who has written this book, Indica. In this book also many information we got about Mauryan Empire. Arthashastra was written by Kautilya, the mentor of Chandragupta Maurya. He wrote how Mauryan administration was, how people used to earn, how people used to live, what were the duties, how government was there at that time. All these information was written by Kautilya in Arthashastra. Again I am reminding, who has written Indica. Indica was written by Megasthenes. They have given a detailed account of life of Mauryan Empire. What was the life of Mauryan people at that time? In that Indica book, they have written Seleucus was the one who came to India at that time. Alexander the Great has sent him to India, and he was the one who witnessed here. Like for example, you're going to Delhi, you're staying in Delhi, you or forget about Delhi, you're going to US for 2 years, and for 2 years you're just staying there and you're writing something, what you are, how you are living there, what kind of people, what is the routine of people, uh, what is their culture. Same thing this Seleucus has written in this book Indica about Mauryan Empire, and this was the another source of information for Mauryan dynasty. Then rock pillars edicts of Ashoka. Now what is this rock pillar? Rock pillars are kind of pillars. What is pillar? Pillar is type of, what can I say, khamba. Okay, pole. Pole is there, was there in this Mauryan Empire. Pole were there. In that pole, Ashoka has written some informations. Now what informations? Like poles are there. In that poles, in that pillars, Ashoka has inscripted means engraved, गाड़ के लिखना कुछ, like, right? Inscripted. What he has inscripted? He has inscripted the information for the people, how they have to live, what principles they have to follow. And these poles, these pillars, another source of information. From these pillars also we get the information about Ashoka, about Mauryan Empire. This edicts, Ashokan edicts are very important point. How many total edicts are there? They basically, there are 14 main edicts. 14 pillars are there. And two separate one. There are 14 pillars, 14 rock edicts. And in that rock edicts, he has written some principles, some instructions for the people. Now, these edicts also give information about the Mauryan Empire. Again, I am revising. What are the sources? Arthashastra book written by Kautilya, Indica book written by Megasthenes, Ashokan edicts, rock edict. You can see the picture, rock edict of the Mauryan ruler Ashoka. Though you can't understand the language because this is not the language which we know, but see there is a stone type, right? In that stone, in that rock, though this is rock edict, I'm talking about pillar edict. Pillar is same thing they have written on a pillar, means on pole. Rock edict, something they have written on a rock. So you can see the picture in the rock, something is written. Basically you can't understand because the language is not, but this is kind of information he used to give to his people, and this is the another information from which we get to know about Mauryan Empire. Then let's talk about the first king of Mauryan Empire. Who was the first king of Mauryan Empire? Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya was the one who is the first king of Mauryan Empire. Now, Dhanananda was the king. Before Chandragupta Maurya, Dhanananda was the king. Nanda kingdom was there. And the king of Nanda kingdom was Dhanananda. He was very unpopular ruler. Nobody liked him. Nobody liked Dhanananda. Why? Because he was not a good ruler. He was a very greedy person, very arrogant person. He insulted everyone. Once he insulted Kautilya. Kautilya, the guru of Chandragupta Maurya, once he insulted Class, one thing I want to tell, when you study history, try to learn, try to listen like a story. Don't think that it's a book. If you listen like a story, na, it will be interesting for you. Okay, let's come back to the point. Chandragupta Maurya, how he became a king. Before Chandragupta Maurya, Dhanananda was the king of Mauryan Empire. Nobody liked him. Nobody liked him because he was very arrogant, very greedy person, not a good ruler. Once, when Kautalya went to his court and he insulted Kautalya, Dhanananda insulted this Brahman Kautalya, and from that day, Kautalya decided that he is going to destroy Dhanananda. And then, when he meet when he met this boy Chandragupta, he decided that he will help him. This boy, this young boy Chandragupta, will help him to get to fulfill his dream because he wanted to destroy Nanda. So Kautalya, after meeting Chandragupta Maurya, he decided that this boy will help me to get to fulfill my dream to destroy Nanda dynasty. And then he gives training to Chandragupta Maurya. As I told you, the mentor of Chandragupta Maurya was Kautalya, and then he decided that he'll going to train Chandragupta Maurya, and then he'll become the then he'll what you can say, he'll revenge will over. And then finally he started giving training to Chandragupta Maurya, and finally they fought. Chandragupta Maurya and Nanda fought, and Chandragupta Maurya won the battle and he became the king of Mauryan dynasty. So that's how he became a king. Then Chandragupta Maurya's success was due to his advisor. As I told you, who trained him? Chanakya told him. Not because he liked Chandragupta Maurya, not because he has some relationship with Chandragupta Maurya. No, he did so because he wanted to get revenge from Dhanananda. That's why he fought with him. इसलिए नहीं उसने उसकी मदद करी थी चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य की कौतल्या ने बिकॉज उसे पसंद करता था या फिर कोई रिलेशनशिप था. नो, नॉट लाइक दैट, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट. बेसिक वजह जो थी वो ये थी कि एक बार कौतल्या की इंसल्ट कर दी थी दानानंदा ने. उसी दिन से उसने एक प्रण लिया था कि मैं इसको डिस्ट्रॉय करूँगा. और जब वो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य से मिला, जब वो यंग था, तब उसे लगा कि यही बच्चा है, यही लड़का है जो मुझे इस रिवेंज को पूरा करने में मदद करेगा. देन ही स्टार्टेड ट्रेनिंग चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य. Chandragupta Maurya freed northwest India from Greek control. Then he started. Now earlier time, how king extend their kingdom? पहले के ज़माने में राजा महाराजा कैसे अपना राज्य बढ़ाते थे? By fighting with them. So this thing, same thing Chandragupta Maurya has done. He fought with the Greek people, he fought with the people, and he freed northwestern India. जो इंडिया का नॉर्थ वेस्ट का हिस्सा जो ग्रीक के पास था, वो चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य ने फ्री करा लिया, फ्री करा लिया उनसे फाइट करके. ही फॉट विद देम एंड देन ही फ्रीड द नॉर्थ वेस्ट इंडिया फ्रॉम ग्रीक कंट्रोल. दैट्स हाउ ही एक्सटेंडेड हिज किंगडम. He built a vast empire. Now, because of his ability, because of the advice of Kautilya, he extended his kingdom from Hindu Kush in the west to Bengal in the east, from the Himalayas in the north to Narmada in the south. You can see how he extended his kingdom by battling, by fighting with the people. Then Chandragupta Maurya died. And after Chandragupta Maurya, who became the king? Chandragupta Maurya. After Chandragupta Maurya, his son, his elder son became a king. Who was his elder son? Bindusara. Earlier time, how people became king and all. After their death, their elder son become the king. Then his death, his son. That's how hereditary goes on. Nowadays, so we have elections and all. That time, people don't have elections and all. How they used to get their kings? Through this. Now, after Chandragupta Maurya, when Chandragupta Maurya died, his son Bindusara became the king. After Bindusara, Ashoka became a king, very renowned king. Though we don't know much about Bindusara, but yes, he was also a good ruler. He also extended his kingdom, but we know Ashoka more rather than Bindusara. We know his son more. We have information much about his son is more renowned than his father. Everybody knows about Ashoka. So after Bindusara comes Ashoka. Now, We know good about Ashoka. Yes, no doubt he was a very good ruler, very good person, a very brave ruler. That's why the Ashoka great, we know him like the Ashoka. Now, all the kings, there is no, in front of all the kings, there is no this title, the is not there, but only in front of some kings, this title is there, the Ashoka, the Akbar, because they are really very renowned kings. So, one thing, a very one thing is there. If you see in your book, also, you'll get to know that Ashoka killed his own brothers. We know good about him, he was a good ruler, but the thing is, he killed his own brothers. He killed his nine brothers. We don't know whether this is a truth or not. Historians used to say, but he killed his own brothers for the sake of throne. And finally, he got the throne. And when he got the throne, he extended his kingdom. Ashoka got the throne in 273 BCE. And he also was a good ruler. He extended his kingdom. He took Mauryan Empire at height. At his time, Mauryan Empire was at height. A very good ruler was he. He extended his kingdom in a good. He took his kingdom in a very high position, and everybody knows that he is a very brave ruler. As I told you, everything was good about him, but before he got to the throne, he struggled a lot to get the throne. वो राजा बनने से पहले उसने बहुत कठिनाइयों का सामना करा है, उसने बहुत गलत काम भी करे हैं. As I told you, he killed his own brothers for the sake of throne, and after a long struggle he got his throne. He became a king, and when he became a king, what he did, he extended his kingdom. He started one policy, that is Digvijaya policy. Now, what is Digvijaya policy? Digvijaya policy is policy that how he can extend his kingdom by conquest, by annexing. उसने एक पॉलिसी करी थी अपनी रूलिंग में, दैट इज़ दिग्विजय पॉलिसी. नाउ व्हाट इज़ दिग्विजय पॉलिसी? दिग्विजय पॉलिसी में ये था कि वो अपना राज्य बढ़ाएगा. कैसे बढ़ाएगा? दूसरों से लड़के, मुकाबला करके, और उनका राज्य जब्त करके. दैट्स हाउ ही इज़ गोइंग टू एक्सटेंड हिज किंगडम. बट लेटर ऑन इस दिग्विजय को उसने धमा विजय में बदल दिया. धमा विजय इज धर्म में. Though in this chapter only we are going to discuss this. Then there was one region, that is Kalinga. One region was there, एक इलाका था जो था कलिंगा. Now what that Kalinga is? A very powerful area, very you can say many kings wants to have that एरिया इन देयर ओन हैंड. बहुत राजाओं ने कोशिश करी कि वो कलिंगा को अपने कंट्रोल में कर ले, बट नो बडी वॉज सक्सीडेड बिकॉज दैट एरिया वॉज अ वेरी अंडर वेरी पावरफुल किंग. एंड देन अशोका वॉन्टेड टू हैव दिस कलिंगा इन टू हिज ओन एम्पायर, एंड देन ही फॉट अ वॉर. इफ यू नो दैट कलिंगा वॉर इज़ अ वेरी फेमस वॉर ऑफ अशोकाज लाइफ. अशोका की लाइफ का बहुत फेमस वॉर था कलिंगा वॉर, द वेरी फेमस वॉर. एंड दिस वॉर ब्रिंग्स अ टर्निंग पॉइंट इन हिज लाइफ. लाइक इन एवरीबडीज लाइफ देर इज़ वन टाइम when the time is a turning point for the people. Like sometimes when you get less marks, then you realize, okay, from today onwards I'll study hard, and that will be a turning point for you. Sometimes you think that yes, you are not a good student, you need to be obedient. Then you realize that okay, I'll be obedient person. Then that will be a turning point for your life. Same thing in his life. This Kalinga war, Ashoka's life, this Kalinga war became a turning point of his life. When he fought this war, many people died. 1 lakh soldiers were killed in this war. 1 lakh. In your book, though in this slide I have not mentioned the amount, mention the ratio, mention the numbers of the soldiers, but I'm telling you, almost 1 lakh soldiers were killed in this Kalinga war. Almost 2 lakh or 1 lakh 50 something soldiers were injured, handicapped, and many people were prisoned. So in short, I can say many destruction took place because of this war. This war Kalinga War was a very famous war of Ashoka's life. This war brings a turning point in Ashoka's life, and because of this war, many people lost their life, many people were injured, and many people were prisoned. And this, after watching this, he realized that how so much of destruction, so much of death, everybody was crying, this atmosphere, he his heart was totally but like shattered. Because of this war, Ashoka's heart was totally shattered, and he realized that he'll get nothing with this war and all this violence. After this war, when he saw so much of destruction, so much of death, he realized that this war, this fight, this violence can never give peace to a person. And then he realized his mind, his heart was so much in distress that he took an oath. उसने एक शपथ ली. He took an oath that from today onwards, after this war, he'll not he'll not take part in any war, and he'll not let his army, his people to involve in any war. उसने एक शपथ ली कि आज के बाद, इस वॉर के बाद, हम किसी वॉर में पार्ट नहीं लेंगे, ना उसके सोल्जर्स ना अशोका, हिल नॉट टेक पार्ट इन एनी war. So that's why this war, Kalinga War, is a very famous war and turning point for Ashoka's, because he decided that he's not going to take part in any war. And after this war only, see, he was impressed with Buddhist teaching. You remember in the last chapter we have discussed about Buddhism and Jainism, and Buddhism is a religion which preach peace and non-violence. He was very impressed because he decided that he is not going to take part in any war. Then after this war, he decided that he was very impressed with the teaching of Buddha, and he decided to adopt Buddhism. He decided to adopt a religion, Buddhism religion, and he wanted to devote his life to Buddhism. Ashoka replaced the policy, as I told you, initially started the policy of Digvijaya, that he is going to fight and win the states. But after this war, he decided Dhamavijaya, that he is going to win the state through dharma. Still, he is going to extend his kingdom, but only through dharma, not taking part in fight. In the next class, I'll teach you what are the policies according to this Dhamavijaya. What principles are there in this Dhamavijaya policy? This we are going to discuss in next class. So I hope you understood this chapter. If you have any doubt, you can ask. I'm just revising again so that you can understand. Mauryan Empire was started in 4th century. That empire was a large empire. Then there are two main sources, or you can say three main sources: Indica book and Arthashastra book, which was written by Megasthenes and written by Chanakya. Ashoka edicts, Ashoka rock edicts. You can see the picture, rock edicts, something written on rock, some information is there. Ashoka pillars, something he used to write on pillars, poles, to give information to his people, to common people. Politically, Mauryan Empire was a very large part of the country. First king was the Chandragupta Maurya. How he became a king? He fought with Dhanananda. Dhanananda was the king who was before Mauryan Empire. Nanda kingdom was there. He fought with him. Who gave him advice? Chanakya, because Chanakya want to take a revenge with Dhanananda because he insulted Chanakya once. Chandragupta expanded his kingdom by fighting. Then after he extended his kingdom, after Chandragupta Maurya, his son became a king. Who was his son? Bindusara. After Bindusara, his son became a king. Who was he? Ashoka. Ashoka got the throne in 273, but he didn't got the throne easily. He fought for that throne. He did many bad things. He killed his own brothers for the sake of throne. And finally, after this struggle, he got the throne. And after getting the throne, he extended his kingdom. And then he fought a war to get Kalinga region, a area that he wanted to get that region. A very big war was there. That war was a turning point in Ashoka's life. And in that war, many people lost their lives. Destruction took place. And finally, he took an oath. Ashoka took an oath because his heart was totally distressed with this destruction. He took an oath that from after Kalinga war he is not going to take part in any war. And then he adopted which religion? Buddhism religion. Why he adopted Buddhism religion? Because Buddhism religion teaches non-violence and peace, and he wanted peace and non-violence in his kingdom. And then he started the policy Dhamma Vijaya. Earlier the policy Digvijaya was there, and then after getting adopting Buddhism religion he started policy Dhamma Vijaya. So in the next class I'll teach you what are the Dhamma Vijaya policy, according to what principles are there in this Dhamma Vijaya policy. Till then I want you to read till now till page number 103 in your book. I don't know in new book which page was that, but in my old book this topic is still 103 page. So I want you to go through that page till that page. In the next class I'll teach you the principles of Dhamma Vijaya. Thank you. Stay safe, stay home.